Welcome to the Growth with AI podcast. My name is Peter Martinson. Today, my guest is Mark Herre. Mark is the founder and CEO of the company SEO Game, a white label SEO company. Mark, please introduce yourself and your company and tell us what you do.
Hi, Peter. Thanks for taking the time to meet. I'm white label SEO, as you introduced, and a lot of people don't know what that is. I've been running an SEO company now for 29 years, and white label has always been kind of like the growing thing that I do to help a digital agency. A white label SEO is just a fancy $10 word for someone who does the search engine optimization for another SEO company or a web designer, a digital marketing person like yourself, if you ever needed to have a person behind the scenes who knows what they're doing to help with search engine optimization.
Okay. So 29 years in the SEO business. I'll be honest, I didn't even know SEO had been a thing for 29 years. How did you start doing what you're doing now?
It actually kind of came out of my first industry and company that I was a partner in, and I worked in an ISP, and we had clients, and one of those clients were digital agencies, and I had an opportunity to introduce SEO services to them through the internet service provider. The technology all made sense, and this is all pre-Google, and so I started SEO Game as a sidekick thing, and then went all in and have been for 29 years to help a digital agency behind the scenes look good and be the partner that they need to help with their challenging clients and quick wins to get first page rankings. Now that's continually what I'm doing today and helping digital agencies as a partner.
Okay. Wow. So after 29 years, I'm sure you've heard the term that SEO is dead. I'm curious, how many times have you heard that and what's your feeling on that?
Well, that's an interesting state. When you go to a trade show, there'll be a booth. Generally, I went to one just a couple weeks ago. I went to one almost 25 years ago in San Francisco area where I lived. And these trade shows would have somebody in there saying SEO is dead. Obviously, it's a great way to come over and talk to the individual and say, well, why do you think it's dead? And they're saying, well, because email marketing is the only thing that matters, or social media or lead gen and LinkedIn. And that's the only thing you know. But it's never going to be dead unless if there's an opportunity to get visibility on the first page or get visibility somehow it's online, there's going to be browsers always, and somebody's going to need to do the optimization to get first page results or top of mind results. And that's kind of what I do behind the scenes for the digital agency. So I don't know, I've heard that phrase for about 25 years, and I haven't really paid much attention to uh,
Okay. Well, yeah, that makes sense that there's there's never going to be just one way to get to a consumer, right? So now I'm going to display my ignorance of SEO. I'll admit that I really just use Google and Google search, but there are presumably other websites out there for doing search. If you use other browsers or whatever, do you have to do different things to get somebody to the top of a Google search result versus the top of maybe a Bing search result or a Yahoo search result or something? Do you have to do things differently for each website?
well, I'll stick to the majority of traditional search is still coming from Google's search. And the industries I focus on are digital agencies with clients. They're looking for new clients and they're looking for what I would call lifetime clients. Lifetime clients to a digital agency are in the fields of, and this is just going around your question, but I'm going to answer it, I promise. The traditional search is helping digital agencies acquire lifetime clients. For instance, in two categories, you might have lifetime clients that are always going to pay a digital agency a retainer. And they're in the brick and mortar space and the home service space. So a home service is a plumber, a roofer, an HVAC, general contractors selling custom homes doing kitchen and bathroom remodeling. Those are lifetime clients for any digital agency, as long as you can get number one visibility rankings and you can back that up with attribution, phone calls, web traffic. You can actually tell if that's working. The other types of lifetime clients are in brick and mortar spaces, the lawyers, the dentists, the orthodontists, the auto injury chiropractors, the med spas, the infertility clinics. Those are great for if you can achieve number one rankings. Right now it's Google, which is still traditional search. Um, and those are going to be 99% of the traffic. And then there's other browsers, which are making up 1%. You can call Bing Places a good place to be number one ranking, and that will help maybe with chat gpt traffic. And then you can work on what ChatGPT is recently doing with the new browser at Atlas, and Perplexity's new browser at Comet, and then you have Gemini, which is Google's summary AI. And those are traffic sources. But right now, if you look at those main categories of brick and mortar and home services, and the 180 categories that are, or 160 categories, I've identified 160 categories of each. Those are digital
Mhm.
agencies' dream clients to work with, to show why we do SEO, because we do SEO to bring in more phone calls and traffic to these types of industries that are going to pay on a retainer lifetime. So I work strictly on helping digital agencies go after those types of clients. And so different browsers are important as long as they're working. If they're working, we'll work on them as traffic referral sources. But we still are just a search engine optimization company to help with the searches in traditional and then semantic searches that are out there. So that's how we're helping digital agencies.
Okay. Okay. So you brought up several AIs,
Hmm.
Gemini and Perplexity and ChatGPT. So I'm curious, with the advent of these search summaries, like when I go to Google and I do a search, I get a summary at the top of, that gives me an answer without ever having to go to a website. So how does that sort of new search result affect you? How do you do your work so that your website still shows up at the top and is maybe mentioned in those search results?
Certainly. Well, Google is still producing the 99% of all the organic traffic. And these others are coming into play. Right now, if you look at their Google Analytics of these types of categories I described earlier, business services in the brick and mortar and home services, they're generating only 1% of traffic outside that's organic and visibility opportunities in other browsers. So we're not see, it's like we can't put a lot of energy in the 1% and neglect the 99. So we still have to focus on that little slice of traffic from others. And as it continues to grow, we're solving a problem, Peter, for the digital agency and the owners of these websites. The problem is they might have watched a TikTok video. They might have watched a YouTube video saying you're missing out. You're not getting ahead of the times, and their fear of missing out is FOMO. And so we're solving the problem of being able to say, yes, that's important. Let's do things on the website. Let's do some interlinking in blogs. Let's take advantage of a WordPress plugin that I've developed with the partner. Let's take advantage of some of these tools that we use, but press releases and things like that, to actually get more traffic. However, we can't neglect the 99% of the traditional search, but the semantic search is also very important. So we're going to fix your problem of FOMO, and we're going to, month after month, look at the Google Analytic traffic and see how we can increase it from, maybe it's at 0%. Let's get it to 1%. Let's get it to 4%. Let's increase that Google Analytic traffic and overall search and show that we're doing something to fix the problem. And I think that's where we're at in this stage. We want solutions, but we also want to look at the what we're doing to fix the problem, and that is getting more traffic through Google Analytics through these
Okay.
other browsers.
Okay. So again, showing some of my ignorance, would you please define semantic traffic?
Yeah, well, where traditional searches are like Nashville plumber, Nashville med spa, Nashville, near me keywords. Those are traditional searches. And then we're moving into how we're looking at those AI summaries, and there's prompts to say, "Oh, did you want to find a left-handed screwdriver that works only at midnight?" And then you can look for things like that. That's a semantic search. All
Gotcha.
right. And I don't know how many websites are out there that are talking about their left-handed skill sets, but they might be, and they might have an FAQ question all about left-handed screwdriving and how plumbers, are benefiting from this, especially that particular Nashville plumber is, and that might pull up a result. So if we have any left-handed plumbers out there and their skill set is using a screwdriver, then we can focus on those searches that solve that problem of semantic search.
Gotcha. Okay. Wow, that's, I like that, a left-handed screwdriver that only works at midnight. Is that an example you've used before, or did you just
No,
make
it's
that up?
just the thought of like semantic, how we're changing our habits of
Mm,
searching, and we're
yeah,
getting prompts how to search more semantically. So if we have semantic searching is the way that people are trending towards. So they're getting their answers from generative answer engine optimization strategies. So we need to if there's a website, we need to build the content for that. You need to have more of an FAQ page. You need to have more blogging. You need to have more press releases. Those things are better to get found. And if your website's also, doing some back end things, we help with that too. So we can basically what we're doing is we're focusing on a semantic link building internal structure to focus on the semantic search volume that's going out there. And we're trying to solve the problem of FOMO. So the digital agencies are going, here, Mr. Client, with the website, we're working on it. And here's our attribution behind it. We're increasing traffic. Google Analytics says we're doing this month after month, and we're continually getting better at it. It helps the owners of websites, and it helps the digital agencies who both of them really, if you boil it down, have FOMO,
mm,
and they need a partner that helps them basically continually with the strategy that will make most sense. That's and then we're also focusing still on the 99% of the traffic that's just in traditional search too.
gotcha. Okay. So, tell me a little bit about the WordPress plugin that you've
Oh,
developed. What
that's
does
a
that do?
partnership with WordPress,
Okay.
and I have a partner that's developed a WordPress plugin. That's one. It gives us a rating score. It works with Claude. It's another and we basically get a score, and we come up with a way to interlink the blog posting. There might be previous blog posts, and there might be new blog posts that it recommends, but we're actively trying to make content marketing and blogging cool again. Digital agencies can sometimes introduce their content marketing strategy to an owner of a website and say, this is what we need to do. And then they can get paid for it. And then we all win because we can actually, and that works really well with WordPress. But if you're not in a WordPress, but you have a blogging strategy going on, we can kind of like navigate through that and do the best we can. But the WordPress plugin is a fantastic way to help with semantic internal linking. If we're going to focus on semantic search strategies that are out there, we want to have an internal semantic link, internal link strategy going on. And we do that through blog posting.
Now, is that WordPress, plugin and the results, is that available to
It
the
will be. It's
owner?
like any day now. We have internally, worked on many websites, but and there's a little glitch that we're having, but other than that, we're launching. We're launching it.
Will the website owner see the ranking result, or does that go to the digital marketing
The
agency?
website owner will, of course, because it's their website, and they'll know exactly what we're doing. We're already doing that internally with all the websites I'm working with, and then we're doing it with new websites. Everybody's kind of like waiting. There's a lot of people like that are also waiting to see the full live version so that they could download it. But yeah,
Cool,
I like
okay.
it. I like it. I like that we're doing something to help with getting more traffic. The ultimate goal is to get more traffic.
Yeah. How do you differentiate between human traffic versus bot traffic? Is that something that's a concern and that you have to show the website owners or the digital marketing agencies that the traffic is are real people instead of bots? I don't know
That
how
would be
hard that
more of on the paid side of digital agencies who handle that organic traffic. The only problems I get with owners of websites is once we get them number one ranking, there's a big new just wave of traffic that can lead to spam. People trying to sell to the owners of websites, hey, you're not, you're not listed in Google Business Profile when they are. Now all of a sudden they're getting these kinds of calls and they're like, what is this all about?
So have you ever had a client say, "Surrender, I've had too many new leads come in,
No,
overwhelmed?"
no, they just sometimes, back to that earlier question, they'll just sometimes say, how do I get rid of spam now that I'm number one ranking? And they got their target on their back, and they're the new dialers that pick up on new websites that are dominating. Again, I focus on digital agencies with their clients that are going to be on a retainer, and those are brick and mortar home services. And they're when they have a small staff and they're not used to being number one ranking, they're all of a sudden going, this is the dream I've been looking for to grow my business. Now and hopefully they're in that growth mode. And I've, generally not seen that happen. They hired the SEO agency or the digital marketing agency and the agency's trying to make them look good to solve the create the infrastructure around it. Like, well, here's what you need to now, answer more phone calls so you're not leaving anything at the table.
Mhm.
So hopefully they're solving those problems. I'm just a rank delivery strategist to get the number one rankings. And hopefully I can make the digital agency look good because I have a performance based model, no rank, no pay. So I have to just achieve number one rankings. The digital agency has to close the deal and then I can invoice. And hopefully they're on a retainer where they're making 70% margins. So if they're charging a $500 to $700 a month, monthly retainer, then they're making 70% margins. I'm doing all the work. They can continue to grow and build case studies after their, you know, initial trial with me, because after all, I do trials and I just stay in my lane a little bit. Hopefully, the digital agency has the answers to solve. Like you're asking some questions, and hopefully they're on the ground talking to the client, and hopefully they're solving their problems
Gotcha. Okay.
outside of just giving number one rankings.
Okay. So you've been in the business 29 years. You've seen a lot of change. Do you have any crazy stories or interesting stories that you'd like to share with us?
Uh, I'd say that networking has been kind of like the craziest story, because I remember networking like I had another company first, and being a member of a chamber of commerce or two, and then just how networking has evolved. The craziest stories are just in the networking circles that I work in, because I'm always looking for a fractional CMO. So I think that some of the crazy stories is everyone's now fractional. And it's evolved from different titles. And then, of course, the craziest stories of 29 years running a digital agency for digital agencies as a white label SEO. I've seen some ups and downs, like when I had my small little family in San Francisco, and I was there in the .com bubble, going to trade shows, going to the campus of Google for the very first time, seeing 25, 6 years ago, people saying SEO is dead. And I'm like, oh no, it just started, guys. What are you talking about? And then, with the 9/11 and some crashes of a lot of digital marketing agencies folding and going, giving up, and then going through maybe another 2010 crisis of the housing bubble, and now different little ups and downs. Now we're going through one with, well, in the 90s pre-Google, it was I can get you listed in the search engines. Now it's I can get you listed in Chat GPT. And it's just those are just some of the craziest ups and downs. I think the pattern of watching it all has been a very interesting story. And we're doing it all again right now. We're kind of like in the wild, wild west of I can get you listed in the Chat GPT. It's what you don't know. It's gonna kill you. And anyway, it's all this is an interesting time to be in.
Yeah, it absolutely is an interesting time to be in. Yeah. Um, is there anything else that you'd like to share about your business or about you or your history?
Well, um, I'm in networking circles. I'm a good networker. So because I ask people if they have, anyone that they know, fractionals, CMOs, if they know a web designer. Those are always good referrals for me, web and SEO companies. But outside of those one-to-one meetings, besides just discovery calls, they're networking calls, and so you'll get good referrals from me. So I love networking, and so that's another thing I've learned how to be a good networker. When it comes to, like, after a one-to-one meeting, I'll generally follow up with you on 4 or 5 introductions that will be okay to send you your way if it meets your ICP. We call that an ideal client profile. And maybe it's just a power connector you need to get a hold of. But that's the last thing I wanted to probably say is about networking.
Okay. So just one last question. What do you want people who might hire you to know about, SE?
SEO game will stand there when you need somebody to go to the bat. As a heavy hitter, we'll take on any 30-day challenge. So an SEO company, or you have a website that needs 30 days of a trial, and if I can't do it in 30 days, I'll probably be the first one to say it's a 60-day trial, and then the pricing will be a wholesale price, something that you're not used to, because I help keep that price down. But my goal is that you'll get a trial some way or another to achieve your number one rankings. And if expectations are met, there's no pay. So that's what the performance based model comes out. And that's kind of the no rank, no pay formula that I've created all these years.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and wrap this up. So, Mark Harry from SEO Game, thank you very much for joining us today. It was wonderful talking to you. I certainly learned some new things, and I hope the audience did as well.
Thank you. Bye, Peter.
Bye bye.